Wow, how about that? Just about 3 months ago, Cavalry at home defeated Forge. The score was 2-1 that day. It went down as the biggest win in club history, winning the North Star Cup. Now here tonight in Langford, British Columbia, against Mexican giants Pumas, coming from behind, down a goal to win 2-1 again, to send shockwaves across the Concacaf Champions Cup. Back-to-back historic wins for Cavalry FC. Just wow. Gareth Wheeler, Jordan Wilson, Christian Jack with you. How can you define just how big of a victory this is for Cavalry here tonight, Christian Jack?
Yeah, it's a monumental victory. It's their greatest victory, no doubt about it, when you think about the magnitude of the opponent and where they've come from to be able to get to this. It's bigger than that, though, Jordan. This is a victory for the sport in this country. Everything that is against these Canadian teams, not having a season, starting in the cold weather, not playing in their own city, playing against a League MX giant who left a handful of great players behind. Just, they go off for the pitch with their heads down, and this is what we've created here in this country, where a club 7 years old can go out there and do that, which is monumental. And this is obviously this is the first time ever that a Canadian Premier League team has beaten a Mexican team. It's the first time in 3 years that any Canadian team has beaten a Mexican team. So many other stats, but I want to hear your thoughts on it too.
Character.
Yeah.
To go down and be down 1-0. Most people say, oh, make it respectable. You're going to go to Mexico next week. Just maybe park the bus. They went after it. They kept digging. Obviously, having a Trafford step up and to score that goal. But even then, Wheels, this is character within the side. They showed what they're made of. And now they have everything to play for in a week's time.
Belief is pretty special, isn't it? And you just felt even when they went down a goal, there was belief in this group that they could punch back. And this is a type of result that sends headlines. Not just across our country, but Mexico as well. Pumas is one of the big four clubs in Mexican football history here today. I don't care who they left at home. They have established first-team players playing here against Cavalry tonight. They're up a goal, and they allow Cavalry to come back and take the win. And now, give them a big job to do next Thursday night in Mexico City, KJ.
Yeah, of course. For me, that's the big story that you alluded to. They didn't just beat them. They were behind. They had to go. We were just sat here, less than an hour ago talking about how do you recover from giving up a gut punch of a goal just a minute before the interval. And they just came out and carried on playing the best way they could go about it. I was thinking about the history of Canadian teams versus Mexican teams and how hard even Major League Soccer teams with payrolls 20 times as big as Canadian Premier League teams have a job against the Mexican teams. And so I did it quick. I'm like, when was the last time a Canadian team came from behind to beat a Mexican team in this competition? It was in Guadalajara, 2018, TFC in the final. Yeah. And they did it to Tigres as well in that run. And that team is arguably one of the greatest teams in Canadian soccer history.
MLS history, too.
On the way to becoming a finalist. And what Cavalry have done to get in that conversation, that organization talks about being first to do different things, and to be the first Canadian Premier League team to go out and do that, and not being able to play in their home city. I've got nothing but complete plaudits and respect for them.
Not just that. Typically, when you play teams like Pumas, you give up one, you give up two, you give up three. That's generally the way that things work.
We've seen it before, right?
We've seen it so many times before. Let's get to our changemaker Volkswagen moment of the match. And if you're going to score a match winner, it might as well play out like this. Like some sensational play through the team, really, for Cavalry, but the finish, a special one by Tobias Warshevsky.
He's the man. I said it pre-game. Tommy Gooden Jr. calls him a maverick, but I said if there's one player on the pitch that's going to do something special and put Cavalry in that position to win, it is going to be the number 9 in red. That touch, KJ, the spin, the ballerina 180 that he does to keep his balance. Is he onside? Is he offside? VAR is there. This goal counts. But the touch and the movement and the wherewithal to put that back on target and between the keeper's legs, sensational.
Yeah, only very, very few players in Canadian soccer can score a goal like that. The magic to be able to do that, opportunism, and obviously for me, one of the greatest gifts you can have as a striker, is anticipation. And when you watch that goal back, it isn't just the first flick to set up the second flick. It's the ability to get in that space in the first place. And when you watch Herdman go up to head it, Wojciechowski's already recognizing where that ball's going. And we've got to give Tommy Wheeldon Jr. a lot of credit here, because how did that start? Moosey up as a 9, pressing to get the ball to start. Wojciechowski, as we said, he's not a traditional number 9. He likes to go out in the pockets to be able to go in the spaces in between the two centre-backs. He did that and then worked his way in there. All three of them, Moosey, Wojciechowski and Herdman, were excellent tonight. Excellent. And they all combined on a monumental, historic goal.
The service, Herdman playing it back to Wojciechowski, but you've heard of the Texas two-step before. That's the Tobias two-touch right there. Put it in a frame. We'll never forget that moment. Let's hear from the match winner, Tobias Wojciechowski, in conversation with their very own Oliver Platt post-match.
Toby, it's another big moment in the history of this club. How did you accomplish it?
Yeah, I think the whole team did it today. I'll be honest. I'm just happy for the guys. I think, like, when you concede just before halftime a goal like that, I think everybody was a little bit head down into the locker room, but we showed character today in the second half, and I think we deserved the win today.
It's a special goal from you to win it as well. Can you walk us through that?
Oh yeah, I don't know really what happened. Sometimes I just black out and I don't know, I just touched it, finished it. I don't know how to really explain it.
You've obviously now got to go down to Mexico City and try to finish the job. How much confidence will this build tonight?
I think a lot. Like, we had confidence in this group. Like, a lot of players came back. Like, the whole squad is back. And I think a lot of guys doubted us a little bit. Like, no new players and this and that. But we try to get them wrong, you know, and have just fun on the pitch. This is what I like to do, you know.
Thank you, Toby. Well done tonight.
I love it. Tobias Wojciechowski. He's like Will Ferrell from Old School. He just blacks out what happened, and it was a moment of sheer brilliance as well. KJ, I know you and I kind of thought the goal was going to get called back. Now, VAR told a different story. I think based on the camera angles in the line, they maybe just didn't have definitive proof that he was offside. So in that moment, you go with the original call, the flag stayed down, goal stands.
I mean, I would hope they had a better look than we did. It might have been the only look, but we didn't get to see them going through the different angles and with the line on the, look, it took a while. So it's obviously that they were doing all the due diligence, and we can just say that obviously at that moment that they think that he was on. It looks on that angle that he looked quite offside, but we have to say that it's not the best angle, that you would hope that they're able to draw the lines on it and go from there. But I want to play it through. Watch the anticipation for one touch to two touch. That's the story. And think about what a run this gentleman has been on. I'm smiling there. I'm beaming when I watch his interview, by the way, because this is a man who, when he was at FC Edmonton, barely ever wanted to do an interview. And he's grown so much because of the confidence and love that that club has given him, both on and off the field. Scores 5 goals in the last 3 games of the regular season, including an 89th minute penalty to steal the Golden Boot on the last day of the season. Goes to Hamilton and scores the vital goal to prove that they could actually beat Forge for the first time. Brings back Forge, scores the big penalty in the final, and now scores that goal in a matter of 3 months, 4 months in the run that he's had. They knew that he got something special when they got him from Germany off the couch for a year out, but to get him fit like that, it takes a special man to score a goal like that, as I said before, and I'm really, really happy for him.
Absolutely, KJ. I'd be remiss if we don't talk about Tommy Wheeldon Jr. and the fact that he was brave, but the trust that he has within his squad. Shamit Shom today, massive in the midfield. Trafford to go start, who didn't play a lot last year, stepped up big for his hometown club. You look at the front three where you guys highlighted. You're looking at Herdman, the header back across, Moosey stepping up in big ways. Camargo played a part. People would question about new players coming in. This core got it done today. With a back line that you could say is fairly new with Cobbs and Montgomery. They haven't played that many games together, and they got the job done against Mexican Giants. There's a lot of praise that Tommy Wheeldon Jr. and company deserve right now, because that was not a small task. That was a huge feat right there.
If you're counting, I'll do the math for you at home. 8 in his last 8 for Tobias Wojciechowski. Jordan Wilson mentioned another name in Charlie Trafford. He's front and center because he's your Gatorade performer of the match. He was everywhere. The ground that he covered today was exceptional. And he's the one that gave Cavalry life, Jordan, off a set piece corner kick played out, and it was Trafford ending up scoring the equalizer.
Not a player that scores many, right? But I think tonight he put it all together because he had a similar performance when they played Orlando City SC last year, KJ, but ran out of steam after 35 minutes. This year, heart and soul was on the line. He led by example, and you can see this here. Just sneaks in. The zone from Pumas isn't good enough. And right there, great ball from Lucy. You usually see Dan Klomp on the end of those. Yes. But Trafford stepped up big tonight for his hometown club.
In the biggest games, your big players have to step up. And the corner by Ali Musi is absolutely incredible. To be able to deliver a ball like that, you could talk about defensive, zone defending all you like, but to put a ball like that, it doesn't matter whether you're man marking or zoning. You're asking the opposition to really make a big decision in that moment. It's a beautiful delivery in a game where some of the set pieces on both sides weren't great until that moment. So for me, but Trafford stepped up big, and I'm really happy for him. He had a bit of an injury-riddled year last year. Part of the reason why Cavalry weren't that great during the regular season because he couldn't get him and Musi fit. Terrific in 23. May play a little bit more of a defender going forward without Klomp this year as well. Just a big presence and a big character.
Yeah. Just don't call him Old Trafford. It's refined Trafford, okay? That's what he is. And we hope that he's healthy this season. So really, he can be a very important piece for the Cavalry side again in 2025. Seems like this was a game. There was something in it for everyone, even if you're not a Cavalry supporter across this country, because Santiago Lopez made his full debut for Pumas in this one, and he's the player that inevitably gave them the lead in the 44th minute, right before the half. Let's go through the goal, Jordan, but both of you, I want to hear your thoughts on the way that Lopez played today and what you thought of his performance overall.
Yeah, the pure debut, I thought it was great. I thought he was lively. We talk about the frailties of Cavalry with this goal and how Carducci should do better. Rawlings should basically box out is what I feel about the situation. But the finish is not easy, KJ. Like, it's coming at him hot, it's bouncing, and then just kind of calmly puts that top corner with his left foot. But I thought he was great tonight. I thought he should be really proud about his performance.
I was surprised he took him off. I know that substitutions are a big part in the season, particularly for Cavalry. And I thought Tommy Wheeldon Jr. got his subs right as well, by the way, and that not an easy timing of them. But Lopez, I thought, was a menace for Cavalry. He kept picking up in the space. He brings that pace. And, Kobza and Varling not played together very often at all, by the way, on that right-hand side. He kept operating in that little pocket there. And so when they removed him, I was a bit surprised, to be fair. And then, I think if that was Kobza, a big happy days, take him off and bring on somebody else who's a bit cold on the bench.
You can see him; he's disappointed as well. He didn't want to leave the party.
Yeah,
he was enjoying himself.
Yeah, no kidding. You're All-State saving the match. There weren't very many saves for Marco Carducci to make, so it's going to be just this last moment of the match. I'm not even sure if this is really a save or what this is, but I mean, there was a couple soft saves, but really, I think it's a testament to the way that Cavalry defended that there wasn't a lot of shots on target other than the one he spilt on the goal.
It's called save of the match, but I think that was the collective sigh of the match. Because once he put his hands on the ball, Cavalry knew they'd won.
All-State sigh of relief for that match.
You know it.
Big news, the Canadian Premier League season, if you haven't been paying attention, it kicks off April 5th. Circle this Monday on your calendar. Home openers will be announced. Circle then Wednesday on your calendar because the entire schedule will be revealed. Big season ahead upcoming in the Canadian Premier League, and you're going to be able to plot out your dates, your summer schedule. It's going to get active starting next week. Oliver Platt will join us next from Langford, British Columbia. Tobias with the winner. Awesome to see so many Cavalry fans making the trip out to Vancouver Island as well. Shout out to the foot soldiers. Absolutely. This is the Concacaf Champions Cup right here on One Soccer.
Are you having any fun? What you getting out of living? Who cares for what you've got if you're not having any fun? Are you having any laughs? Are you getting any loving? If other people do, why can't you have a little fun? And have a little fun.
Canadian soccer fans, we're different. We cheer on the Reds while cheering out our motherlands and each other's lands. Soccer is in our hearts. Our roots are on display, not to divide, but to unite. Because to us, soccer's more than just a game. It's who we are. From coast to coast to coast, it connects us all. Cheers to us. Cheers to the game.
This isn't your first time flying to show support for your team, but it is the first time you use the wrong kind of paint.
It says here you could try mayonnaise.
WestJet, where your story takes off.
For generations, we've put more goodness in so you get a whole lot more out of every single delicious egg. A lot goes into a little at Burnbrae Farms.
Do we really have any choice at all?
Everyone has a choice, and every choice has a consequence.
Which do you choose?
Life's full of tough choices, isn't it?
How do you choose?
I love this script that's written here tonight. First leg, Cavalry 2, Pumas 1. I mean, those are the stats that matter the most. These are your full-time statistics. 7 shots to 5. Cavalry, the game plan spot on by Tommy Wheeldon Jr., willing to give up the ball a little bit to a team that's probably a little bit more comfortable in defending. It was a physical game. 5 cautions picked up for Cavalry. They'll worry about that another day. For now, all good news for Cavalry FC. Gareth Wheeler with you. Oliver Platt joining us from Langford, British Columbia on Vancouver Island. What a change in tone and feel that kind of played out over the last hour or so, Oliver. Cavalry going into the room at halftime, conceding late, down a goal, heads down, and then to respond that way with 2 goals and the Warshevsky winner. Did you sense inside the stadium, did you feel any of this coming?
I mean, I think at halftime when you're 1-0 down against the Liga MX side, you think the writing is on the wall a little bit and it's going to be difficult to come back from. But I thought up until the goal, Cavalry were excellent. Like, this is a team that really understands now, I think, how to play these matches. And then to come from behind and score 2 goals in the second half is special. It's a special night, I think, in the history of this club. But it's a story that I think has been building and going back a few years. We all know that Cavalry in the regular season in the CPL were dominant for so long, always fell short in the playoffs and had problems in those knockout games. And in the course of that disappointment and heartbreak at times, they've learned and they've grown. And now I think you see a team that is as good as any in our league when it comes to these knockout matches. And that's what continental football is at the end of the day. It's not about throwing out your philosophy, not playing the way you want to play. But there does have to be a streak of pragmatism, I think, and understanding the scenarios and the situations. And Cavalry have just become so good at that, having been, their Achilles heel for so long.
It was a team performance in every sense of the word, but through it, there were some standout performers as well. Who stood out to you?
Yeah, I think you guys have already discussed the name I want to go to most, which is Charlie Trafford. I thought he was magnificent. We'll see what that injury that forced him off is, and hopefully it's not anything serious. Obviously, his season in 2024 was really destroyed by injuries, but when this guy's fit, like his technical quality, his intelligence and understanding of the game in that central midfield role, and also the physicality, that's the side of it that I think, a lot of players in that position don't have in the way he does. he was everywhere, winning aerial duels, winning duels on the ground, using the ball well, and obviously gets the goal that gets them back in the game and gets the confidence streaming through this team. So you could go through the team. Montgomery leading at the back. Musi was patient and waited for his moments. Waszewski, what more can you say about him? But Charlie Trafford, I thought that was a true leader's performance in central midfield.
I'll throw one more. Shamit Chom was spectacular as well. Look, it felt like a true cup tie performance, even without Cavalry not playing in Calgary. Completely different field than last year. Obviously, the Pumas fans play a big role in that. But to see so many Cavalry supporters make the trip, it felt like it helped the team through some difficult moments as well. What do you just make of the occasion and what you experienced tonight?
It was really enjoyable, and the Pumas fans, credit to them, they played their part in it behind the goal, never stopped singing, and even, gave the team a little song at the end despite the loss. But, having the Cavalry fans who had traveled, having the away fans who had traveled as well, I guess they were both away fans in a way, but you kind of fear when you're playing on a neutral site that it's just going to be a bit lifeless, how many people are going to show up. That wasn't a concern tonight. It was a good atmosphere in this place, and there's a little party at the ends there by the halfway line with the Cavalry players and the fans who had travelled, which was lovely to see. So it's the club that keeps building on and off the pitch. I'm always more and more impressed every time I see them by the progress they're making, I think, and yeah, more good things coming for this club, and now down to Mexico City.
And that's it, because last season, with all due respect to the fine people of Orlando, Florida, going down playing in a 72,000-seat stadium in Mexico City in a game that really matters for Pumas. Let's be honest here. Things are going to be taken to another level next week. Do you feel that Wheeldon Jr. and the boys, they're up for the challenge at hand?
They're going to be up for it. It's going to be incredibly difficult still. Let's be honest about it here. We're probably going to see Pusetto, Carrasquilla, those types of players be drawn back in. But, what a great situation to be in if you're Cavalry, that you forced them to do that, right? Pumas are going to need to turn up and perform with all their big guns in that second leg. So there's all kinds of challenges associated with that, the altitude, everything else that comes with going to Mexico City. But Cavalry in a fantastic position, and what a fantastic experience that's going to be however it goes next week.
A special night at Starlight with a number of star performers, including yourself, Oliver Platt. Thank you for this. He's laughing. I'm telling the truth here. So Cavalry scored 2. Forge probably should have scored 2, ended up losing by 2. We'll reflect on the night that was in Hamilton, Ontario next, as our coverage of the Concacaf Champions Cup rolls on right here on One Soccer. On Wednesday in Hamilton, Ontario, was Forge against Monterey of Liga MX. It was cold and slippery. KJ can, provide accounts of both. There's one thing being cold, and it's another thing freezing entirely. We'll just get through the field played a huge role in the game. But speaking of cold and freezing entirely, Brian Wright, there's no chance he slept last night. He hit the ball. That has to be a goal, Jordan.
Has to be. He knows it. Forge knows it. It's one of those feelings that he's going to be thinking about for a while, KJ.
Yeah, tough moment for Brian, no doubt.
It was 0-0 through 45 minutes. And Oliver Torres, what an outstanding player. Formerly of Atletico Madrid and Sevilla and Duosa, like a new signing for Pumas. What a player, what a strike, 1-0 for the visitors.
Top class finish. No keeper saving that. Just pick it out. That is top quality.
Yeah, and Monterrey delivered even more pain. Free kick given just on top, right on top of the Bucks. And Jordi Cortizo, I think this is his first touch on the ball.
He got fouled. He didn't even touch the ball.
Yeah, Cortizo just came on. Yeah, and delivered it. Had a lot of injuries last year as well, and had a big smile on his face after that one. A bit of a difficult one for Forge to take, but they could have come back. Actually, no, Johnson at the back post. Fired across, probably a bit too heavy by Alessandro Jabapor, and a night of missed chances for Forge.
He told you post-game as well that he thought that he should have finished that chance.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So it was a case of what if. Frustrating night. Again, the field played a huge role in everything that played out. Both games, both fixtures go to Mexico for the return leg. It's Monterrey and Forge on Tuesday night. Remember they had Toonie Tuesday back in the day? Do you remember that?
I had it every Tuesday.
Forge needs at least 2. That's the storyline there. And Cavalry are going to Pumas a week from tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, to try to do the unthinkable and go out and win this tie. I mean, we're going to be watching Forge and hoping for the best. What an experience playing one of the best sides in this region in Monterrey on their own turf. But it's going to be Cavalry, KJ, that are taking the headlines to see what they can do this time, really, next week.
Yeah, it'll be a great opportunity for them. And I understand why their mindset will shift towards that and how they get through. For me, though, the mindset just needs to be on tonight right now and understanding what they've accomplished. You know, I understand why we're talking about the second leg and we've got days to think about could they do it, but they have it. They did it. And tonight was a monumental night for that football club, for that league, and for the sport in this country. And, okay, you could try and go out and beat them. As Oliver said, it's going to be difficult. But I don't want that to go away from what we've seen tonight, regardless of what happens in Mexico City. Jordan, you've played in this league. You've known this country, the sport in this country. What we've seen tonight is, no doubt, a massive moment for the sport in this country.
It's a huge milestone. And you think about, we were there freezing a little bit in Calgary when they lifted that North Star Cup, and that was a step. We can all agree. That was a step that Tommy Wooden Jr. and company took, but they took it to another level 2 months later, and we're sitting here now. And everything is possible moving forward in the next 7 days.
I am a dreamer.
We know that.
What I'd love to see, I'm not talking about nightmares, I'm a dreamer. I would love to see Cavalry somehow go down there and score an early goal, maybe from a set piece. Then you start asking questions. A 2-1, you know, the away goal rule still being in play here in Concacaf, it kind of changes things a little bit, doesn't it? So
it does.
Go to get that first goal. Come on, dream with me, guys. Dream with me.
Always dreaming.
So,
you know, what we saw tonight felt like a dream.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Dream come true. Fantastic stuff from our entire team here tonight. It looked bleak at times because of an under-20 Canadian, 19-year-old Santiago Lopez in his full debut for Pumas, giving the visitors a 1-0 lead at the half. But Cavalry, the fight, they marched on. Trafford and Warshevsky with a wonder strike made it a memorable night. An historic win for Cavalry, 2-1 the final. We'll see you next week in the Concacaf Champions Cup.